Well, I may as well get straight into it. I think this game has wasted more than enough of my time already. Now, this is very easily among the worst open world sandbox adventure games I've ever played, and I've played Just Cause 3 for crying out loud. And before I give off the wrong impression, I'm not saying that Assassin's Creed Origins is technically bad, it's at least functional, which, let's be fair, is quite an accomplishment for Ubisoft.
Hey, what?
But it is dull, as in boring, as in obscenely boring, like so beyond remarkably dull and hideously boring, it makes you want to rip out your own eyeballs before they permanently glaze over from how atrociously boring and sickeningly dull each and every single aspect of this game is. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. Oh, and it's derivative, generic, lazy, has mediocre mechanics, bad uninspired writing, and it's not really an Assassin's Creed game. Did I mention it was dull? And I'm serious about it not really being an Assassin's Creed game. There's maybe a grand total of 15 minutes stretched over 30 hours devoted to the overall story. That is, the part of the story that people actually care about. Most of which is character development of characters you ultimately never get to know and in the end don't care about, not only because they're incredibly bland and one-dimensional, but because, you know, you've only spent 15 minutes with them.
I'm gonna call it in if you don't.
Deanna, no! If you do it there, well, get no credit. They'll cut me out like always.
And then, when it's not busy not telling the story, it's a bizarre mashup of several franchises, not all of which are Ubisoft's, in which I can only assume is some kind of desperate and shallow way to give it some kind of ultra mainstream appeal. And I really don't understand it. Why would you, when you have two fairly unique and separate games, remove that individuality and make them so similar? They somehow, for some reason, managed to generify not only one, but two of their own franchises in one fell swoop by combining both Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, and The Witcher and Zelda, and basically any game they could get away with, really. I mean, they're not picky. So now we've got a crafting system in Assassin's Creed where you can upgrade key equipment by smushing various resources together a la Far Cry 4. And I can understand why they did it. Crafting mechanics in games can often add a lot of extra content, but if it's not done well, and that's key here, then it just becomes tedious, busy work. And it is. It seems more like a rush job to get that extra bullet point on the back of the box. They clearly didn't put any actual effort into it. The game has, what, 6 crafting materials total? 7 if you count the carbon crystals? And I don't. All of which can be acquired from multiple sources and are all used across the upgradable equipment. Pretty much everything requires everything, just in greater and greater amounts. Which, now that I think about it, is even less involving than in Far Cry 4. Even in that, it had you tracking down specific animals for your upgrades.
Stay there.
Yeah, I mean, hippos and crocodiles are basically the same animal. That can be hard leather. Lions, tigers and leopards, pelts. There we go. Job well done.
I do not care.
In this, if you're patient enough, you could very easily upgrade everything to its max level within the first couple of areas because everything is available right off the bat. Apart from, of course, the carbon crystals, which is Ubisoft's way of artificially lengthening what is an otherwise insultingly simple process. And get used to me saying that, by the way, because this is a trick they use way too often. So not only did they ravage Far Cry 4 for ideas, but the game also takes a page out of the Witcher book and is littered, and I mean absolutely littered with side quests. But these aren't fun or interesting like those. Don't be silly. No. These have to be some of the most boring, uninvolved, lazy and tedious bitch quests I've ever seen in a game. And this is coming from a guy that's done the cleaning house side quest in Final Fantasy XIV, wherein the whole purpose is to dust paintings. Oh yeah. These quests though, My god, it's like the game is trying to put you in a coma. It's the same banal garbage every time. I've lost this, go find it. Help me with my menial task, I can't be bothered. Bandits did XYZ, go kill the bandits. I'm lazy, pick me up.
I am weak with hunger and with love. Will you carry me to Teta?
If I must.
I always love it when the actual game manages to undermine its own features.
But I've one more thing to ask of you.
Done with your games.
I don't even have to say anything. The game's own character is fed up with this crap. And no, making it ironic does not change the fact that this is crap. It's still crap. Knowing that it's crap doesn't make it not crap. You son of a... And the main story quests aren't much better either. Even better, often, and for no reason other than to make these quests seem more dynamic and important than they actually are, the NPCs will randomly decide to walk with you to a random location while they're blathering away, because God forbid we render an actual motion captured cutscene. Where the hell are you going? Do you even know?
We will not celebrate until an alliance is sealed. Your vizier and your king have given us fine accommodations here in the palace. However, I cannot guarantee my imperator will hold court with you.
We understand. You are a good legionary. We will be patient.
Oh, for crying out loud. Move your asses! Jeez, this is so boring! Damn it. I guess fun time's over. Actually, Super Meat Boy does make a good point. Where this franchise used to be more about intuition and timing, being nimble, fast and outwitting, now you play as a lumbering slow-ass bruiser who swings a sword like a baseball bat. No finesse, no style, just a hulking Geralt wannabe with about as much grace as a one-legged spider at a tap dancing competition. It's this game's attempt at trying to add Witcher-style combat to replace its own, and like I said, it's functional, but that's it. It adds nothing that hasn't already been done much better way before now. I mean, it's about as standard as these games ever come. It's so average and bland. I mean, there are skills and abilities that add to the combat that the game shamelessly pilfers from other games, but that just adds to its charm, I guess. Pity that Mario Odyssey didn't come out sooner, eh, Ubisoft? You could have had Senu fly into people to possess them. Actually, that might have been pretty fun. Shame that that would have required a decent stealth system to make full use of such a mechanic. But of course, this game all but strips the stealth and assassination part away from Assassin's Creed.
But they will never know who we are. Cold, calculated, poets of the kill. Yes. We are the hidden ones. Go. Do nothing until I give the signal.
I mean, because of course, that would be too obvious, right? We need to keep people guessing, why be consistent now? And I'm serious, most of the stealth elements have either been completely gutted or simplified. In the earlier games there was a very clear indicator that told you exactly what level of stealth you were in and how the NPCs would react to you, but not here. I honestly lost track of how many times I thought I was in stealth only to get pounded by arrows left and right. It may as well have not have even had a stealth mechanic. I mean, this game is so generic, it could be about anything. Take away those 15 minutes where you're bopping out of the Animus and it would just be another dime a dozen adventure game. May as well call it Cleopatra, or Sand Souls. Or how about I just call it like I see it, the lumbering slow-ass Egyptian 3. Speaking of which, as this game was clearly trying my patience in a number of ways, I decided I just wanted to experience the story. Or lack thereof, as I would later discover. But regardless, I just wanted to push through, only to realise I couldn't. Because screw you, that's why. The world of Assassin's Creed Origins is broken up by areas of strength, you see. So, for example, level 3 enemies in the starting village and level 30 enemies in the later cities. It's fairly typical stuff. The problem there is, in this game however, is that enemies that are just a few levels higher than your current level have a huge power advantage over you. And I'm not talking a few extra hit points here and there. I'm talking in some cases as much as 20 times stronger than equivalent level enemies. 1 to 2 hit deaths and massive health bars. And this is just a 5 level difference in strength. I don't even want to imagine what it's like higher than that. Personally, I never tried. Any enemy higher than 4 levels is indicated by this skull icon. It may as well be a middle finger. I mean, come on, just look at this. 1 level is the difference between instant death and a half health stealth attack? And that's with just a 4 level difference. A 5 level difference drops it further to a 5th or something. And don't even try taking on Phylax any stronger than your current level. You'll just be there all day.
Hey. What? What? Hey. Hey.
And this is with my hidden blade at max level. Something I intentionally did to help speed this game along. Well, so much for that plan, I guess. So either the curve between levels is beyond ridiculous, or Ubisoft imposed this strength gap on purpose to artificially limit the amount of progress you can make in the game without having to complete more of their damn side quests first. Unbelievable, making you play at their pace in order to claim the game is longer and deeper than it really is. Though I can't say I'm totally shocked. Look, I just want to beat the game. Why are you trying to stop me? And no, you know what? I'm not too low. Get that crap out of my face. I'll do what I goddamn please. I don't want to talk to these NPCs.
Sorry.
Just look at this. Even the game knows. Almost there. It's like it's teasing me. Oh, I'm not going to make it. Just end. Oh.
What's that? What's that?
Damn it, I've really got to stop getting distracted. I know that game sucks, but the more I play it, the quicker it'll be over at least. Actually, wait a second. Ah yes, 20-year-old mechanics still being utilised to this day. Now maybe, and this is just me brainstorming here, but maybe, instead of replacing the entire system with half-assed action-oriented combat, you, I don't know, improve on the stealth mechanics so this kind of ridiculous and embarrassing garbage doesn't happen?
Huh? That's strange.
Is this supposed to be funny? I mean, it's hard not to laugh, but believe me, I'm laughing at you. AI this stupid should not exist. Doubly so in a stealth game. Triply so coming from a company with this many devs. And it's not just the AI. It seemed like every second I was running into some new train wreck of game design. Let's see. Terrible sound design that often drowns out speech.
There you are, Father. We are going home.
But this Petra is everywhere.
Oh yes? You are going to find his...
Awful character animation and lip sync, or why not, the lack of any voice acting whatsoever.
Standing up for Egyptians. Pathetic. Pathetic.
And when there is voice acting, you wish there weren't.
I'm looking for Zervos.
The harbor master. Of course. Zervos is away.
You know what? Why don't you bring that terrible sound design back?
He's gone to Notopolis. Attracted by the promise of a new life.
There we go.
Then he is not dead.
Dead? Why would you think he was dead?
I've already mentioned the god-awful side quests.
My workers are so slow. I need to run over and check on them.
Allow me, Nebet.
Oh yeah, here's a fun one. Trademark Ubisoft anti-physics. Often this kind of thing wouldn't bother me so much, but here it's just far too easy to notice. Chariots just lurch like they're on rails in this quite frankly mind-numbingly atrocious minigame. Glitches galore exposing that Ubisoft still don't have a handle on their own engine. And the Super Deluxe Mondo Grand Prize goes to the obligatory and shoehorned in ship battles. And just the boats in general, really. Apparently ancient triremes were able to sail from, let's see, 0 to 60, that's miles per hour by the way, in 1 second. That's actually faster than almost all modern speedboats in the open sea. And I'm not making that up. Thanks to this handy dandy quest marker with the distance indicator, it made it pretty easy for me actually. Here's some video, you're welcome to check your own figures. It might also be worth mentioning that real triremes had an actual top speed of around 10 miles an hour. And it's the same with the small boats, they can go 0 to 30 in 1 second. I mean, come on now, allow me to suspend my disbelief a little bit. Or, you know, make a better and more believable naval battle system next time? It's this kind of constant hammering of unrefined, bizarre nonsense that made it almost impossible for me to get invested. And this is all in a game where they actually expect you to get invested in what seems to be a very serious, heavy-handed and dramatic story. I honestly couldn't tell though, I was too busy laughing my ass off and face palming through my entire playthrough.
Hey, I think it worked.
How the hell does a game like this even exist? I don't want to go back. So what does this make Witcher 3? 20 out of 10? So, the story. The thing they'd have you believe they put the most effort into is... yeah, it's terrible. The story is cliched and boring. So boring. It makes no attempt at deep character development or development of any kind. And the characters themselves are one-dimensional or only exist to serve as an excuse to extort some kind of emotion from you that really isn't earned. Characters die after incredibly brief interactions, and not only are you supposed to care, but it's supposedly plot critical. It's so cheap.
Thank you, Shadia. You should go back to your mother now. It might get dangerous.
Nothing bad will ever happen to me. Iset can fight, you know. She will protect me. La la la, la la la.
Shadia. Shadia.
I do not care.
Was his own son's death not reason enough for this crusade that they had to drag yet another child's body onto the corpse pile? Not only that, but characters you've only just met betray you, and you're supposed to be surprised by this.
Are you alright, Bayan?
How about the main character is just a trusting idiot? But only in this one scene, only here, because we need a dun 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 moment.
Are you unwell? Are you unwell?
Dun dun dun.
So the snake is the order of ancients.
Yes.
Dun dun dun.
Or Senu can help you find what you need.
Senu? Senu is alive.
Dun dun dun.
Then there's the major gameplay and story disparity. And here's one example. Bayek, and that's the main character by the way, I actually had to go back over the footage to check because he was so forgettable. Anyway, he's clearly a deeply religious and superstitious person, and you can tell this because he constantly rambles about it in-game.
Burning corpses? This is blasphemy. Who did this? Hey, why are you burning the dead? Don't you fear the gods?
But his actions within the actual game don't coincide with what's happening in the story. His actions actually contradict on a regular basis the small amount of character development he has. He seems to make no mention or have any interest in bizarre and inexplicable events. Like here, for example, the Golden Globe in the C1 vault is barely mentioned. These holograms on the walls aren't mentioned at all. He's oblivious to the fact that Flavius here is using magic in this fight. Magic to him, at least. He should be in awe at every single one of these events, panic-stricken or at the very least humbled. From everything I've seen and heard from Bayek up to this point, he should be on his knees begging for forgiveness. He pledged his loyalty, his undying loyalty, in a second after witnessing any of this. But does he care? Does he bollocks? And neither did the writers, apparently. I mean, this isn't hard, guys. You write a story and events within that story, and the characters react to them. Or is this purely for the imagery? Yeah, well, I guess that answers my question, doesn't it? Anything else you want to blatantly plunder while you're at it?
I will see what I can find.
You know, honestly, I don't understand why this game got such rave reviews. I mean, it's pretty, I guess. And it has a handful of decent moments, but so does every game. Even garbage, mediocre ones like this have good moments. But a handful of moments does not make a good game. And really, on the topic of graphics, they're not even that good. The only decent thing graphically in this game is the lighting combined with the very nice skybox, which gives the illusion of good graphics. If you really look at the game, it's nothing we haven't seen at least a dozen times this year alone. This skybox here is the metaphorical equivalent of jingling shiny keys in someone's face. And the sad thing is, it worked.
Use vigilantes you have freed to block your pursuers and break their line of sight.
Why are the load times in the original Assassin's Creed faster than this game? If you compare this to The Witcher 3, and I have to because let's be fair, it's really trying to be a Witcher knockoff. And that was released, what, 2, almost 3 years ago? If you compare it to that, it's worse in just about every way. Every single way possible. So there's really only 3 reasons that come to my mind anyway. It was rated so highly. It's either these reviewers' standards are incredibly low, they're incompetent and have absolutely no idea what they're doing, or they're being paid off. And I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but pick one. Everything else is just a flat out lie. In my opinion, and that's my incredibly experienced opinion mind you, anyone that gives this game a 9 or a 10 has no business being a reviewer of anything. What these reviewers are doing, it's disingenuous at best and harmful at worst, because they're basically saying that this is okay. Well, no, they're saying that this is exceptional, the best of the best, and it's just not. The message this sends is, people are okay with mediocrity, we don't have to try because look at these scores, look at these sales. Look, how long before other developers take the hint? It's dangerous stuff you're playing with, and not only that, the thing that bothers me the most is it's insulting. It's insulting to CD Projekt Red for one, because you're equating this with The Witcher 3, an amazing game that had both far less staff and budget. It's disgusting. Each and every one of these devs should be ashamed. I know I would be. Listen, nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to be talking about this game a year from now. Be lucky if they even care a month from now. Don't you feel bad? Don't you want your games to be remembered and thought fondly of? Don't you want to put effort into them and make them better? No? I didn't think so.
Done with your games.
No, I did not care. I did not care. I did not care. No, shit, no, I did not care. I did not care. I did not care. No, shit, no, care. I don't give the shit. This what? I think of your shit. Games. No, care. I don't give the shit. This what? I think of your shit. Games. No, I did not care. I did not care. I did not care. No, shit, no, I did not care. I did not care. I did not care. No, shit.